Bartolomé de las Casas, who lived in the 16th century, is still heralded in Latin America today as one of the few who fought tirelessly for recognition of the rights of the indigenous people. Nowhere is this more obvious than in the book A Short Account of the Destruction of the Indies. It is a retelling of the horrors inflicted on the native people by the conquistadores and leaves no detail uncovered, regardless of how horrific. It was first published in 1552, but the most celebrated edition, and the one held in the Winchester College collection, is the 1598 one, because of the illustrations which detail in graphic form the horrors inflicted on the local population. The purpose of the book was to persuade the future Philip II of Spain to stop the abuse and mistreatment of the indigenous people of the Americas. Las Casas knew about this from first-hand experience. He travelled as a young man to Haiti, becoming an encomendero and participating in a system of landholding in which the local population was brutally exploited. The plan had been a feudal relationship where the colonisers protected the natives and converted them to the Christian faith. In reality, European settlers tortured, abused and massacred the indigenous people. Las Casas, being devoutly religious, was worried about the divine punishment that would be inflicted on Spain should they not take better care of the natives' souls. A precursor to the book was the Valladolid debate, which was held to discuss the treatment of the indigenous people in the Spanish colonies of Americas. At the debate, some argued that human sacrifice, praying to false gods and cannibalism were against the laws of nature, and therefore the Indians were not fully human. Las Casas responded by highlighting their ability to reason and should not be brought to Christianity by force. He also held that the local population had certain rights over their own property and labour. Some view the arguments put forward in the Valladolid debate as a forerunner for international human rights. Both sides deemed themselves the victor, and the situation for the natives did not improve. This may be why Las Casas published a book to set out his experiences in America and laid out his views. Las Casas has been a protagonist in many films and works of literature and continues to be referred to by many human rights activists. His relevance today is irrefutable. Nowhere is this more evident than in the writing of the Chilean poet Pablo Neruda, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971 for a poetry that, with the action of an elemental force, brings alive a continent's destiny and dreams. Recently, in one of my A-level classes, we studied Neruda's poetry alongside Las Casas' book as part of a literature course on justice and oppression in Latin America. Neruda, himself a defender of the rights of the oppressed, dedicated a whole poem to Las Casas. The poem is about a man who, walking back from a trade union meeting, looks to Las Casas for inspiration to keep on fighting.
Y para no caer, para firmarme sobre la tierra, continuar luchando, deja en mi corazón el vino errante y el implacable pan de tu dulzura. Gracias por tu hilo, fue invencible. Padre, fue afortunado para el hombre y su especie que tú llegaras a la plantación.
What Neruda is saying is that the subjugation and oppression which the indigenous population suffered 500 years ago at the hands of foreign powers is still relevant today.
Esta resurrección enmascarada, astuta, envilecida, del encadenador de la cadena.
The images in Neruda's poetry bear a striking resemblance to the illustration in Winchester's brevísima relación de la destrucción de las Indias.
O el odio administrado con sonrisas, la traición del próximo cruzado. el sordo latido del constante sufrimiento, la herida del mutilado, las aldeas exterminadas.